Welcome, I'm Yvonne Davis, your traveling warrior astrologer. And today I am going to be talking about Jupiter in Capricorn. So I'm going to give you a general overview of the energy and then talk about how it's impacting each of the 12 signs. So just to start out, I want to give you a little update on my travels. I'm in a little town called Santa Elena right now, Santa Elena, Costa Rica, and it's close to the Montevideo Cloud Forest Reserve. So this is a really beautiful part of Costa Rica, and it's much cooler here because we're in a higher elevation, we're like in the clouds. So really enjoying the change in temperature for sure because it was really hot in the early part of my travels. So anyway, I will be back in Colorado on December 6th. I'm traveling back home on December 6th. So just to let you know that I'm going to continue to try to make videos during the rest of my trip if I can. But if I can't, then I will get back to my regular schedule once I arrive back in Colorado. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm going to bring up the chart for Jupiter into Capricorn, and we'll have a look at that. Okay, so as you can see, this is Jupiter in Capricorn, December 2nd, 2019, and that's when I'm making the video. But this energy is really important to talk about and think about and see how you're going to use this in your life. So I want to just start with the general overview of the energy. Let's go ahead and get this chart in the center and take a look at it. Some of the most important aspects you see here. Jupiter moving into Capricorn today, December 2nd. And we've also got Venus in there until December 19th. The South Node, Saturn, and Pluto, all in Capricorn. So that's a stellium in Capricorn. So what that means is most of the energy is centered in the sign of Capricorn and in whatever house that will happen to be for you. As I said, after the general overview, I will go through all 12 signs. So we'll talk about what the house is for you and what it means. So the first thing we want to do is just talk about the energy of Jupiter in Capricorn. And one of the things I want to say first is, because I assume that most of you are reading or listening to other astrologers, and always try to offer my own unique interpretation. And because I think that different people can speak about different things. And one of the things I want to say is I notice other astrologers sometimes will talk about the energy of Jupiter, how it changes in Capricorn, that they might say things like it's not as happy in Capricorn. And I really don't ascribe to that way of looking at things. I view astrology as like the cosmic weather or the cosmic curriculum. So if you want to do something like in the summer, you might want to go lay out by the pool in your bikini and sunbathe, or go swimming or something like that. Whereas in the winter, you put on your snowsuit and go skiing or skating or something like that, So you do different things with different weather at different times of the year. And it doesn't mean that one is right and the other's wrong, or that one is better. It's just different, it just expresses different energies in different ways and opens us up to new experiences and new aspects of our being that we may not have had access to, especially with, a planet like Jupiter that is moving through each sign a year at a time. So you will have Jupiter in Capricorn for an entire year, and you get to benefit from Jupiter in Capricorn in a specific area of your life. And so that is something to embrace and welcome and enjoy, because it is going to open up these areas of your life in a way that have not been opened up for the past 12 years. In fact, if you want to think about how this is going to impact you, then look back 12 years, which would be late 2007 and most of 2008, and see what was happening during that time in your life. And that will give you some clues. You know, look at the themes, look at the events, look at how you grew, how you changed, how your life changed, what came into your life, what left your life. And those themes can give you some clues about what might come around again on the spiral of consciousness expansion. It doesn't mean it's going to be identical. It's just a theme. Like, for example, maybe you did a lot of traveling because Jupiter is the planet of travel. Maybe you met people from foreign places, had relationships with foreign places. You know, these are all things having to do with Jupiter. Maybe your belief systems were changing at that time. These are all themes related to Jupiter. So they may have been in effect in your life 12 years ago. So you can look at that and that'll give you some clues. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about Jupiter is it's the great benefic. It expands things, it opens doors, it attracts, it's the great attractor, the great expander, the great benefic. It can bring good fortune, it can attract things into your life. That doesn't mean it's always 100% beneficial. There are times when it magnifies something unpleasant, or it can bring lessons about things that we need to learn. So it's going to bring, over the entire year, it's going to bring something beneficial into your life and change your life in beneficial ways in that area of your life over the course of the year. But that doesn't mean that every single day is going to be, you know, perfect in that area of your life. It'll depend on what Jupiter is aspecting, how it's aspecting those planets, and how it's impacting your personal chart. So, but in general, it is the great benefic, and it does bring good things, beneficial things into your life over the course of the entire year. Just not, I just want to be clear, it's like not every single day. It's just like the general flow of the year. You will see new things coming into that area of your life over the course of the year, and that will be beneficial overall. So right now, we also have Venus. So you want to be looking up here at this part of the chart when Jupiter enters Capricorn. This is the sign of Capricorn, and these are the planets: Jupiter, Venus, South Node, Saturn, and Pluto. So with both Jupiter and Venus in Capricorn right now, that means you have the greater benefic, Jupiter, and the lesser benefic, Venus, in the sign of Capricorn. So that's going to bring a lot of just really, it's going to really be like an open attractor for you to bring new things into your life at this time. So you want to be taking advantage of that energy between now, December 2nd, and December 19th, because Venus will then move out of Capricorn on December 19th. So for those 17 days or beyond, you will get the benefit of both Jupiter and Venus in Capricorn. So you want to definitely take advantage of that. And again, when we go through all 12 signs and you see what area of your life is impacted, you can be thinking about ways that you can use that beneficial attracting energy in that area of your life. So in general, Capricorn is going to have a ton of energy over the coming year. Now, the nodes will move out in the summer of 2020, but for the first half of the year, that part of your chart is just going to be just bursting with energy. So you really want to pay attention to that area of your life, especially with these beneficial energies of Jupiter and Venus. So now that I've talked about, basically what the energy of Jupiter brings, I want to talk about how it is modified by being in Capricorn. So Capricorn is an earth sign, and it naturally rules the 10th house of career and fame and social status and your public persona, the way the public sees you. So as an example, if you are ambitious in any way, shape, or form, the Capricorn energy with all these planets in Capricorn is really going to boost your feelings of ambition, okay? Because Capricorn is a very hardworking, ambitious sign. You occasionally see people who are afflicted, which means that the way the Capricorn energy shows up in their chart, it depresses them. But those are rare cases. Most people are going to experience Capricorn energy as very helpful in terms of discipline, hard work, long-term commitment, and the benefits that can be reaped from those, and in particular in your career. So even if it's not in your 10th house, Capricorn still in some way influences that area of your life, and particularly the Saturn energy. So as an example, if you have Saturn natally in a different house, sometimes that house will also influence your career. So these are the themes of Capricorn and Saturn, and they're multiplied because of the fact that Saturn is in Capricorn right now. So it's like it's magnified, okay? All this energy, and in particular, the planets that are in this sign, in particular, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, very powerful planets, very powerful energy for doing Capricorn type things, like developing your career, working hard, developing discipline, and reaping the benefits of those things. So having Jupiter, which is the great expander, the great benefic, the great attractor, the one who thinks big, having that energy in Capricorn is a fabulous energy for manifestation. I think that's the most important thing about having Jupiter in Capricorn, is the fact that it increases your capacity to manifest, okay? Because the Jupiter energy is so powerful in terms of attraction and optimism and energy, that when it's in Capricorn, it gets grounded. So you're not just a visionary. You can actually ground that energy and take action toward manifestation. So that's the key word in my mind for Jupiter in Capricorn, is manifestation. This is going to be a year of manifestation. So what you want to do is you want to get clarity about what you want to create in your life, so that you can use the energy this year to take action and bring things into manifestation over the course of this year. Now, the other thing I want to mention about this is that we have a lot of planets, other planets in water and earth signs. As an example, we have Neptune in Pisces, that's a water sign. We have Uranus in Taurus, that's an earth sign. We have the North Node in Cancer, that's water. And right now, we also have Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, that's water. So the way that this is going to be impacting the planetary energy in Capricorn will be very supportive, because we'll be seeing lots of conjunctions, sextiles, trines, things like that. and that's supportive energy. So when you think about what water energy is combined with earth energy, the water energy has to do with your emotion and your subconscious, okay? There is like an ocean of powerful energy that can be directed toward the earthy manifestation, okay? You've got this ton of energy in Capricorn that's fabulous for manifestation, and the planetary energy is working in trine with Uranus. In fact, Jupiter, because it's now at 0 degrees of Capricorn, will be applying a trine to Uranus. So from here until it reaches the exact trine to Uranus when it perfects, that is the best time to make use of this incredibly lucky energy, okay? And I wanted to put luck, the word luck in quotations because, you know, I think Louis Pasteur defined luck as saying chance favors the prepared mind. And so sometimes you get luck out of the blue, which you can get with Uranus and Jupiter trining, but you also want to prepare for that luck, okay? Because the more prepared you are for that luck, the more you can benefit from it. So you want to take action. You know, you really want to work toward the things that matter to you, that you want to manifest this year, especially up until Venus leaves Capricorn on December 19th. You really want to take advantage of this incredible energy early in December. So the other thing I want to say about the watery energy of emotions and subconscious when it comes to manifestation is that you have to know your own mind. You have to know your own heart. You have to know your subconscious. Now, you know, people might say, well, you can't know your subconscious, but you actually can. The way that you discover what is in your subconscious is by looking at your life. Your life is a reflection of who you are deep down inside. It reflects your deepest beliefs about yourself, about the world, about reality. And so if things are not working out the way that you think you want them to, that is probably because you have a core limiting belief. And so all the watery energy, watery planetary energy will always work toward your core beliefs. And if you have core limiting beliefs, unfortunately, that is what you will actually manifest. So you really want to be aware of that. As an example, if you want a relationship, like a loving, committed relationship, and you find yourself in a relationship in which your needs are not being met, your needs don't seem to be important to this other person, maybe they don't listen, maybe they aren't good communicators, they don't seem to be sensitive to your needs or listen or care. Maybe they do things that are hurtful, and when you express that that's hurtful, and obviously you want to try to do that in a way that comes across more taking responsibility, just saying this is what I need, and in a relationship, and so I mean, I don't know how you want to say it, but you just really, when you're expressing your needs, you just want to say it in a way that takes responsibility and doesn't try to inflict guilt, shame, or blame on the other person. Because when it comes to meeting needs, there are an infinite number of ways to meet needs. And when we think our needs can only be met in one way or by one person, we take an abundant universe and we make it scarce. And that's why it's never the other person's responsibility to meet your needs. It's your responsibility to meet your needs. So if that person isn't meeting your needs, isn't willing to listen, isn't willing to communicate, then it may be time to move on. And that's what I mean by a reflection of your core beliefs. Because if you have a core limiting belief that your needs don't matter, your relationship will reflect that. No matter how much you think in your head that you want a good relationship, the relationship will reflect what is truly deep down inside in your core beliefs. So that's how you know what's in your subconscious, is you just look at what's reflected around you in your life, in your relationships, in your work, in your finances, in your home, in your family, any aspect of your life. If something's not working and you have done what you can to express things or change things, and it's still not reflecting back what you believe you want, there's some core limiting belief. There's something inside you that the reality, the external reality is actually reflecting, that deep core subconscious and possibly limiting belief. That's how you know what's in your subconscious. So in terms of manifestation, you really want to get clear on what's deep down inside you, deep in your emotions, deep in your subconscious, deep in your core beliefs, because that's what you will manifest ultimately. And I'm sure that you would much rather manifest things that come from abundance, trust, love, and that reflect a sense of value that you hold for yourself. So if that's not happening, then there's something in your subconscious that's blocking you, and that's where you want to start looking and changing in order to manifest. So I think that pretty much covers it. We talked about the watery energy. Again, it's going to be supportive, but the universe manifests what, it's like Greg Braden always says, the emotion is the prayer. The emotion is your wish. And so you may think you're feeling one thing, you think you're feeling one thing, but you have to look at what's reflected back. Your external reality always reflects back what is deep inside you in terms of your emotions and your subconscious. And sometimes you may even catch yourself saying things that, you know, it's like a fish in water. You say it so often you don't even realize what you're saying. People will say things like, well, I can't afford it. I don't have money. They think they're just reflecting reality, but in truth, what they're reflecting is their own deep core beliefs about money and about limitation and scarcity. So that's why you want to really look deeply at your emotions and your subconscious, because that's where, that's the water or the earth from which your manifestations grow out of. So you have to have clarity around that. You have to be in alignment in order to truly manifest the best things you can in your life. So that covers these supportive planetary trines and sextiles, like with Neptune and Uranus and the North Node, Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, and then all of these planets in Capricorn. I'll be making very supportive trines and sextiles and conjunctions. All right, so one other aspect I do want to touch on is the square that the Sun is moving into with Neptune. And we've also got the Moon, which will move into Pisces around midnight night of December 2nd. And then on December 3rd, it will square the Sun, and then it will move into a conjunction with Neptune. So I want to talk about that because of the fact that Neptune can sometimes be delusional. It's the planet of imagination and creativity, which is wonderful. It's very visionary. All these things are wonderful. It opens us up. It dissolves boundaries. So that's why it can open up our imagination, vision, creativity, and all those things are wonderful. And because it has no boundaries, it can also be the planet of delusion. and escape. And so with the square, it reminds us to be really conscious of whether or not we are in alignment with reality. Now, the planetary energy of Capricorn, all these planets in Capricorn, will ground us in reality. So that's good. But we can still tip in the direction of being overly optimistic, or sometimes with Capricorn, even being overly pessimistic. And neither is an accurate reflection of reality. So I would suggest, I always believe that if you're going to go too far in one direction, be overly optimistic, because being overly optimistic will open you up to life experiences, to meeting people, to being in a relationship. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but you learn things that you never would have learned if you hadn't opened yourself up to those experiences. There is no experience in life that is wasted, because it's simply bringing you your cosmic curriculum. If there's something you need to learn, the experience will bring that to you. You will learn and you will grow, and you will be a stronger, more empowered person for having had that experience, as opposed to being overly pessimistic and closing yourself off having those experiences. You can't grow if you don't step out of your comfort zone. So I always think it's better to tip too far in the direction of being overly optimistic. But the key is, if things don't turn out the way you would have liked, then instead of feeling regret, instead just forgive yourself. You know, you are who you are at any given moment. You do the best you can at any given moment with what you have, what you know, what your resources are. At any given moment, you're making the best decision based on who you are and the resources you have available to you at any given moment. And a lot of times what we try to do, like if we have magical thinking or perfectionism, then we try to, after the fact, look back with 20/20 vision and say, I shouldn't have done that. I regret that I did that, without acknowledging that you were doing the best you could at that particular time. And it is the experience itself that helped you to learn and grow and become more empowered. So now you're a new person for having had that experience. And instead of rejecting that experience and feeling regret and blaming yourself, just say, I did the best I could. Now I'm a new person for having had that experience. Now I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm wiser, I'm more empowered for having had that experience, because now I can make different decisions. And that, I think, is far more empowering than criticizing yourself or judging yourself, because people think that they can bypass the learning experience. You can't. You cannot bypass the learning experience. You cannot bypass the pain of those growth experiences. And thinking that you can is called magical thinking. It's unrealistic. It does not relate to the actual reality of being a human being on planet Earth. And when you criticize yourself for that, you're simply hurting yourself for being human. What good does that do? So that's my little bit of advice regarding the square that's coming up with Sun square to Neptune, and then the moon will move in and add to that square and amplify that square. So just keep that in mind. Whenever you're making decisions, you know, there is risk involved, but there's also reward involved. And just acknowledge that you do the best you can in any given moment, and know why you're doing something, you know, so that when you look back, you remember, oh, that's why I did that. Like, I got into this relationship because at the time I was really in love, and this is the person that I thought he or she was. And then I learned more. Okay, that's fine. Things change. And we move on sometimes. Or we learn how to express our needs in relationship. You know, same with a job. Maybe take a job, and then you later find out you didn't like it. Or you quit a job. Or you leave your home. Or you buy a new home or a new car. all these decisions are going to impact your life, some in more profound ways than others, but they do impact your life. And those experiences are what help you to grow and change. And you make those choices because they feel right at the moment. With the information that you have, with the way that you feel, with what you feel you need, the needs you want to meet at any given moment, you're making the best decision you can at that moment. That's why you do it, okay? But don't look back with regret. Just move ahead in this year and enjoy this energy, this incredible energy with Jupiter and these other planets in Capricorn and the sextiles and the trines that it's going to make. It's going to be fabulous for manifestation. Just keep your head about you. Keep yourself grounded in sober reality, and you will make the most of this energy. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what, how this is impacting each of the 12 signs. So we'll start with Aries. And if you are Aries Sun or Aries Ascendant, that puts it in your first house. And that would put Uranus in your second house of income. So Uranus is the planet of things that are unexpected. And Uranus can be kind of restless and want independence. So you could see a lot of change regarding your source of income. And for some people, it can even lead to a desire for self-employment. So keep that in mind. It will be trining Jupiter, and that will be in your 10th house of career. So the combination of all the energy in your 10th house Capricorn and Jupiter trining Uranus in your second house of income, if you are preparing for good luck, something really beneficial to come in that area of your life. So keep that in mind, especially these early weeks in Jupiter, in December, while you still have Venus in Capricorn as well. The North Node is in your 4th house of home, and so that puts the eclipse axis in your 4th house of home and your 10th house of career. So home and career are going to be extremely important to you at this time in your life, and with the supportive energy of Uranus, bringing in the unexpected and desire for things that are new, new experiences, and yeah, again, you may feel restless, you may want more independence, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing. Just think ahead in terms of if you're letting go of something and bringing in something new. Think about how that's going to impact you in the long term. If you are Taurus Sun or Taurus Ascendant, then Uranus is in your 1st house of self. And so it's going to be impacting you on a very personal level, like your sense of self, who you believe yourself to be, your personality, the way you interact with the world. Again, you may feel restless, you may want change, and you may want more independence. So that can, a lot of times that can have an impact in terms of your relationships because you're wanting more independence in your relationships. You're feeling restless in your relationship. And often I see Uranus having an impact in terms of people wanting to be self-employed. Even if that doesn't mean that you quit your job and become fully self-employed, you may find other ways to express yourself and create new income streams. And it also puts Capricorn in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of education, learning, belief systems, and the law, and foreigners, foreign travel, and spirituality. So you may find yourself new changes coming in those areas of your life with Jupiter in Capricorn. All right, so the North Node is in your 3rd house, And so that would be the eclipse axis on the third and ninth house axis. And that is the house of, the third house is the house of learning and communicating. It's the way you take in information, the way you process it, and the way you express it out to the world. So with the eclipses in the third and ninth house, you're going to tend to be exposed to new information, and that will change you. You will learn and grow while the eclipse axis is in the ninth, third house. Your mind will grow, will expand. Your belief systems will be challenged. The way you communicate will be challenged, and you will need to grow and learn and empower yourself in those areas of your life. All right, so if you are a Gemini Sun or Gemini Ascendant, then the North Node is in your second house, and the eclipse axis is in your second and eighth house, which are considered the money houses. That puts Capricorn in your eighth house. Now, the way that these work is the second house rules self-worth, and the eighth house rules deep psychological transformation. And these things are often reflected in the way that we attract wealth into our lives. So there's the inner wealth, and then that's reflected in outer wealth. So if you are looking at changing the way that you attract money into your life, then having all this energy in Capricorn in your eighth house can be very helpful to that, especially with Jupiter and Venus. You can attract new forms of wealth. If you need to get a loan, a mortgage, finance a car, your taxes will also be benefited with Jupiter in this house. Insurance, if you need insurance, if you need to refinance, anything related to joint finances. That also includes inheritances. So yeah, anything related to money and joint finances are going to be very benefited by having Jupiter in the 8th house. That puts Uranus in your 12th house, and the 12th house rules letting go. So there may be things that you need to let go of. And so in terms of your sense of self-worth and deep psychological transformation and how that reflects to your capacity to draw wealth into your life, you may want to think about being more fluid and more liquid. In other words, being willing to let go of things, being willing to liquidate. So you can be thinking about that too. All right, so if you're a Cancer ascendant or Cancer sun, then the North Node is in your first house of self. And what that says is that there needs to be a focus on self. And I don't mean that like selfish or self-centered or anything like that. Sometimes though, that is necessary if you're not good with setting boundaries. And sometimes you do need to lean a little more in the direction of yourself and what you need. But in general, what it's talking about is developing an internal locus of control, taking responsibility for your experiences, recognizing that you're the only one who can truly control your reality. A lot of times we think that other people are doing things to us, but the truth is nobody can do anything to us unless we put ourselves in the position of letting them do things. And I know a lot of people absolutely cannot understand this concept and don't believe it. But with North Node in your first house of self, that is the lesson that you are meant to learn. And it will stay there until sometime this summer 2020. So for at least another 6 months or so. This is the lessons that you need to be learning during this time. And it puts Capricorn in your 7th house of relationships. So there is a need for balance in relationships, balancing your needs with the needs of others, learning how to negotiate that, learning how to set boundaries, and it puts Uranus in your 11th house, which is also a relationship house. So relationships are big this year, especially with Jupiter in Capricorn, because Jupiter is going to bring new people into your life, and Uranus is going to bring new people into your life. And so that's a wonderful thing. You can welcome it. But at the same time, make sure, like when you're on the airplane and, you know, it says if the air mask comes down, put your mask on first before you help others. Because if you're not meeting your needs, you are not going to be able to be in healthy, balanced relationships. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself first. Okay? All right, so if you are a Leo ascendant or Leo sun, then Capricorn is in your 6th house of body and work. So with this energy there, it can be a good time to increase discipline and working harder, working more, bringing more work into your life. If you're wanting to expand your career, then you've also got Uranus in the 10th house. So this is going to be a fabulous time for work and career and advancing your career, advancing your work. And it will help you tremendously with self-discipline. So if you need to make changes to your body, like if you need more self-discipline to get on a diet or health regimen, exercise, things like that, having Jupiter in the 6th house Capricorn is extremely helpful for that. But it's also going to impact your daily work and make a trine to Taurus in your house of career. So if you're looking for new work, expanded work, taking on new clients, changing your work, anything like that, you can benefit from this energy. All right, so if you are Virgo ascendant or Virgo sun, then Capricorn is in your 5th house, and Uranus is in your 9th house, and the North Node is in your 11th house. So the 5th and 11th house axis, that's where the nodes will be, that's the eclipse axis for you, is primarily relational. The 5th house rules children and romance and recreation and creativity. So it's a house of fun and play. And so with Capricorn in the house, you tend to prefer your relationships to be relatively secure. You're not a flighty person when it comes to romance. You like your relationships to have purpose and meaning and depth and commitment. And with Capricorn in the 5th house, that's the kind of people you want to attract. And that's also the way you relate to your children. And so you've got a ton of activity in the house. It can be good for creativity as well. So if you are interested in expanding a hobby or any kind of creative expression, this energy can be extremely helpful for that too. Not just for the fun of it, but it can even lead to source of income, because Capricorn is always thinking about that. All right, and then with the North Node in the 11th house, that's also a house of relationships. It's friendships, social networks, communities. So you may find yourself with this, with the nodes in this 11th and 5th house axis, that you are finding relationships changing. New people coming in, some people leaving, relationships changing. And again, you want to be thinking about whether or not your needs are being met in those relationships. And it also puts Uranus in your 9th house. And again, the 9th house rules education and foreign travel. And so with Uranus there, You may experience, again, this kind of restlessness, this need for change, new things coming in. So you may spontaneously decide to expand your education. Not, it may be a formal education, or it may just be like taking workshops and things like that, or expanding your consciousness. Breaking out of old belief systems. It may be trying out some new form of spirituality, or travel to foreign countries. Anything related to the ninth house is going to be impacted and stimulated if you're honest in the ninth house. All right, so let's see what we have next. Libra. So if you have Libra Sun or Libra Ascendant, then Capricorn is in your fourth house of home and family. And that puts the North Node in your 10th house of career. And so the eclipse axis is in your 10th and 4th house of career and home. And that means there's a need for balance, okay? Because you'll have a lot of activity going on in your 4th house of home and family with all that energy in Capricorn, and with Jupiter can bring in new things. It may expand your home. It may cause you to buy a new home, to move, because Jupiter often has that impact when it's in the 4th house. Expanding your home could mean you build on an extension, or it could mean you buy a bigger home, or it could mean you sell your home and you move, or it could mean you expand your family. Maybe there's new children being born, or maybe it changes composition of your family. So it will definitely impact your home and family. There's no doubt that over the course of this year, you're going to see changes with Jupiter in the house and all of that energy in the house. And again, it puts the North Node in your 10th house. So your 10th house of career is going to be extremely important to you. That's where, the North Node is the direction of your evolution. It's very karmic. It's calling you to assert yourself in your career and in the public sphere. Let people know who you are. I mean, like, what is your calling? What is your vocation? Don't let yourself be squelched in that area of your life. With the North Node, you have to express yourself. You have to follow your guiding star. You have to follow your calling, follow your bliss. That is what is important with the North Node in the 10th house. So be sure to be doing that with the North Node there over the next 6 months. All right, so if you are Scorpio Sun or Scorpio Ascendant, then you have Mars in the first house of self. And that's going to mean that you have a lot of energy, okay? Mars in Scorpio, Mars is a co-ruler of Scorpio with Pluto. And that Mars, that passionate, fiery warrior Mars energy really gets amplified in Scorpio. And it can actually be kind of intense. And in your first house, that means you are sort of like a firebomb. Now, Scorpio is a kind of person who doesn't complain a lot. When they are angry, when they are done, it is like that stinger comes in and it just wham, just obliterates whatever's in the way or whoever is in the way. And the people on the receiving end not enjoy it at all. But that's the way Scorpio is. And with Mars there, it's going to be amplified. So you're going to be making things happen. I would just suggest that you consider the impact that it will have on other people. You're going to have Capricorn in your third house of communication. So with all that energy in your third house, Capricorn, communication is going to be extremely important to your success. So Scorpios are not always the most tactful communicators because, like I said, they don't usually complain. They just build up and then stinger comes out and they are done. And that's not necessarily the best way to maintain relationships. They tend to be bridge burners, and that doesn't always work to their benefit. So if you're Scorpio, you need to be thinking about that. You've got a lot of karmic energy in your third house of communication because it's calling you. That's your cosmic curriculum. It's calling you to learn how to communicate better. Don't hold things in to the last minute. Speak your truth. Let people know if there's something you need. Let people know so that they have a chance. Make requests. Say if there's something that's bothering you. Say maybe you want more fairness in finances or something like that. Let the person know this is what I need. Be very specific, very clear in your request. You can speak out more than once and say, what I need, and to the point where if things don't change, I may need to move on. Give people advance notice. That's all I'm saying. That is a way that a Scorpio could really benefit from having all that energy in the third house of communication. Is to learn how to give people advance notice of what you're needing, and try to work things out and negotiate so that they can benefit you and the other person. It can be a win-win situation, and then you don't have to burn those bridges. It also puts Uranus in the 7th house, which means that you are going to, it's going to amplify that bridge burning side of your personality. People will come and people will go when you have Uranus in the 7th house. Sometimes it will be because you're ready to end that relationship, and sometimes it'll be because they are. But whenever Uranus is in the 7th house, you're going to go through about 7 years. Now that we've had it in there for a little while, it's going to be 6 to 7 years. It's a time in your life when people will come and go. So doesn't mean that all of your relationships will end during that time. The ones that are really solid and strong, those relationships will survive Uranus in the 7th house, but a lot of the relationships will end. If people come into your life during Uranus, they will most likely leave during Uranus in the 7th house. They won't stay. And so you have to be very careful about that if you get married or if you get into business partnerships or other contractual relationships. If those relationships begin when Uranus is in the 7th house, they will most likely end by the time Uranus leaves the 7th house. You just have to keep that in mind, especially with marriage. A lot of marriages end when Uranus moves into the 7th house. A lot of business partnerships end. Any kind of long-term contractual type relationships, like marriage, committed relationships, partnerships, even relationships with employers, contractual relationships, any of those kinds of relationships can often end while Uranus is in the 7th house. And the cosmic curriculum around this is about letting go, about acknowledging the impermanence of life and being willing to let go when it's time to let go. But sometimes that can be painful. So, I don't want to discount the fact that can sometimes be very painful. But again, the relationships that are the strongest and healthiest, those can survive. Especially if they were built prior to Uranus entering the 7th house, they can still survive that passage of Uranus through the 7th house if they are strong and healthy. All right, so if you are a Sagittarius sun or ascendant, then you have Capricorn in your 2nd house of earned income. So this is going to be super, super beneficial for you in terms of changing how you are able to attract wealth. okay. It will change your sense of self-worth. It will deepen and strengthen your uh, self-worth and self-esteem, so you can really value yourself. That's what Jupiter will do during this year. And because your sense of self-worth and self-esteem are increasing and improving, strengthening, then that will be reflected back to you in the way that you are able to attract wealth into your life and increase your personal assets. So this is one of the best placements for Jupiter. When it's in the second house of earned income, the seventh house of long-term meaningful relationships, or the eighth house of joint assets. Those are some of the best placements for Jupiter. Or the 10th house of career. That's a good placement too, because it attracts people, it attracts money, it attracts wealth, it attracts opportunities. It helps you to feel better about yourself. It helps to increase your sense of optimism and your sense of personal power. You're able to attract wonderful things into your life. So this is a fabulous opportunity for Sagittarians in the coming year to increase your income and your personal assets. So definitely take advantage of that. And I say start right away. I mean today, the moment Jupiter moves into Capricorn, because you've got all this energy in Capricorn. You've got Jupiter, the great benefic, you've got Venus, you've got the North Node, which does not always mean, it does mean that things are leaving, it takes things out, it ends things, but sometimes that can be things that you don't need or want anymore that are actually blocking you. So it does have a beneficial aspect. You've got Saturn in Capricorn, so Saturn is loving being in Capricorn because that's where, it's domicile. It feels most comfortable there. It expresses itself most strongly there. And Pluto in Capricorn. And all of this planetary energy is moving direct. And Jupiter is about to trine Uranus, and Venus will be there until December 19th. So in these early days of December, I say start right away. If you want to increase your income, your personal assets, start right away. Don't even wait a single day. Just get started and make it happen in these first few weeks of December. Okay, so what else can we say about that? It also tells us that the eclipse axis is in your second and eighth house. Again, the second house is self-worth. The eighth house is deep psychological transformation. And when you feel good about yourself, when you feel empowered, you're able to attract wealth in both of those houses. The second house is about personal assets and income. It's how you attract money in your daily work. The eighth house is about joint resources. So if there's anything like, again, if you need to get a mortgage, finance a car, get credit limit increases on your credit cards, any line of credit can be benefited from this energy. Mortgage, I think I said that. Insurance, refinancing loans, refinancing mortgages, inheritances, even winning the lottery. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you should buy a lottery ticket, but why not? If you're not spending a lot of money on it, never hurts. Maybe you will, because that's the kind of thing that can happen with this kind of energy in your eighth house, because the lottery is ruled by the eighth house. So let's see. It also means it's your birthday month, so you're going to benefit from that. And one thing I will add that I should have said in the general reading, but I just thought of it, so I'll say it now, and that is that you want to look at what's happening today on December 2nd, because that can also give you clues. Sometimes something will happen, there'll be a kind of flavor about the day, and that gives you clues about what this planetary energy in Capricorn will do for the next year. So pay attention to that. So one more thing I'll say about Sagittarius is that you have Uranus in the 6th house of work and body. So it's going to be expanding your work, changing your work. Again, Uranus is really the planet of surprises. So it can bring a lot of surprises in that area of your life. It's also a planet that can bring a sense of restlessness, a desire for change, a desire for independence. So you may be doing more independent work. You may should be shifting into self-employment, maybe creating new streams of income, because that will work beneficially with these planetary energies in your 2nd and 10th house of income. Okay, so Sagittarius, I say you're one of the luckiest signs right now. All right, so Capricorn, if you have Capricorn Sun or Capricorn Ascendant, then then all of this planetary energy is in your 1st house. So that's incredibly powerful. You are changing in deep and profound ways that will lead to a very deep transformation and empowerment, and especially with Jupiter there this year. So you want to definitely take as much opportunity to improve your life and at a very fundamental and personal level while you have Jupiter in the 1st house itself. It puts the North Node in your 7th house of others, which means again that there's that 1st and 7th house axis where you have to learn how to balance your needs with the needs of others, how to communicate the needs of others, set boundaries, things like that. With the North Node, you'll definitely find yourself attracting karmic relationships that will be very important in your life. And it also puts Uranus in your 5th house. Again, that is a relationship house. It rules children and romance. So you've got a lot of relational stuff going on there. So that's going to be the big one for you. But most of the focus, I think, will be on developing who you are and the life that you want with all that planetary. Okay, so if you're Aquarius Sun or Aquarius Ascendant, then Uranus is in your 4th house, and that will also bring a lot of changes, okay, to your 4th house of home and family. You may find yourself traveling a lot. You may move. Your home may change. You make changes in your home, or you literally change your home. Move out. You sell that house, you buy a new house, or you become nomadic. I mean, it can totally increase the fluidity of your home life. Traveling, moving, a more nomadic lifestyle, changes coming in that area of your life. It will feel a bit unstable. So, but I think you will actually enjoy it. I think you will often be the one who will be bringing that change, because you will feel restless. You will want change. And you will have the North Node in the 6th house of work and daily tasks and body. So again, the North Node is the direction of the evolution. So you want thinking about the work that you're doing in the world. Now, if you're retired, then it's more about if you have a calling, if there's something that's really meaningful and valuable to you, like if you want to do volunteer work or something like that. So it doesn't exclude people who are retired. There's nobody on this planet who's unemployed. Even if you employ yourself sitting on the couch watching television, that's the way I understand the word employed. You're employed in an activity. Even if you're meditating, you're employed in the activity of meditating. So there's no one literally who's unemployed. There may be people who aren't making money, but that doesn't mean you're unemployed. There's always something to do. There's always something you are choosing to do. So with North Node in the 6th house, it's calling you to choose something that is meaningful to you. Okay? And you also have Capricorn in the 12th house. So all this energy is coming into the 12th house of spirituality. So with Uranus in the 4th house and all this energy in 12th house Capricorn, Jupiter is also a planet of moving around. When Jupiter is in the 12th house, it increases that need for releasing, letting go. So with, Uranus in the 4th house and all this planetary energy, especially Jupiter in the 12th house, the spirituality, boundlessness, letting go, there's going to be a lot of that over the course of a lot of letting go, releasing, changes. Just, that's the theme of your life, year. All right, so finally, if you are Pisces, then you have Pisces Sun or Pisces Ascendant, then you have Neptune in your 1st house itself. And Neptune is very spiritual, so it is opening you up to new spiritual experiences. And sometimes those can come from the physical reality, but it means that it's calling you to open your heart, to open your consciousness, to experience compassion, to experience connection. If you're afraid of that, then you may be slipping into the shadow side of Neptune, which is delusion or escapism. You really want to watch that because it can make all the difference in your life. If you're in tune to the light side of Neptune, which is spirituality, open-heartedness, compassion, or if you're delving into the shadow side of Neptune, which is escapism and delusion and fantasy, this is going to change your life. So you want to be really aware of how you're using that Neptune energy. It also means you have Uranus in the 3rd house of communication. And so you want to be thinking about how you're learning, how you're taking in information, how you're processing it in your mind, how you're perceiving reality, and how you're expressing yourself. And that will be in a supportive sextile Uranus-Neptune energy. So it's an opportunity to really grow and learn and expand your consciousness at this time. It puts the North Node in your 5th house of children and romance and creativity. The North Node is the direction of your evolution. So Pisces, whoever you are watching this video, this North Node about your children? Is it about romance, a romantic relationship? Or is it about your creativity, your need, your own personal need for fun and play and recreation and creative expression? It's going to be one of those three, and you know which one it is. So whichever it is, it's calling you karmically. There's something in your life that you really need to pay attention to and give your consciousness to. And it puts Capricorn in your 11th house of friendships, social networks, and communities. So it's a relationship house. You've got a ton of energy there. So that's saying to expand your social networks, expand your friendships, expand your community involvement, because that's where the energy is coming in. And with Jupiter there, the great attractor, it's going to attract new people into your life. And that can be some of the best opportunity for finding people who can help you advance in life. So you really want to be open and getting out there and meeting new people, making new friends, expanding your social networks, networking, getting involved with community. You're going to meet someone important because you've got that eclipse axis there. So that's it for all 12 signs. And as always, I hope that was helpful for you. And the last thing I want to say is that if you are interested in becoming a patron, there will be a link below. And if you are interested in getting a reading, I'm going to be opening up opportunities for appointments for 2020 readings. So if you're interested in getting a reading for 2020, then go ahead and contact me and I'll set an appointment for you. All right, so that's it for today. And as always, I hope that you have a a wonderful day, a wonderful month, and a wonderful year. Jupiter. See you next time.